welcome to another great episode that we have for you here at Life Insurance Today. I'm your host, Edward Pritchett, and I wanted to speak, like there's some of you out there who are looking at, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Like I'm a little bit too old for thinking about like what I'm going to do with it. Like I'm in it. But there's some of you, maybe you're 20, 25, 30, and it's been a crazy time. Like if you're like me, like this has been a crazy time in the economy. This has been a crazy time with politics. This has been a crazy time just in the world. Like the last 5 years, we've all gone through a lot. And you're probably sitting there like, I'm on YouTube. I'm trying to figure out what to do next. And somebody maybe suggested the insurance industry to you. Somebody maybe kind of pointed you to this podcast, for example. And you're wondering, okay, this sounds good, but like, can I? I'm 20, 25, 28, 30. Is this really an industry that I can succeed in right now and can actually grow? Is this something that there's some longevity? And I wanted to be able to share some amazing stories in this industry. And I'm pleased to be joined today by Mrs. Becca Pavlik. Becca, we're going to get into it here a little bit, and I want you to kind of explain some of the things that you've been doing, but let me break down a couple of things. This is someone who has stepped into this industry in the last 2 years, has come in and on a regular basis is writing $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a week in production. And just to translate that, like if you're writing that amount of production, you're just starting off, that means you're making $1,500, $2,000, $4,000 a week in commission income, right? And I know some people get a little bit scared with commission, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But imagine what your life would look like if you were bringing in that income right now. And that's what I wanted to dive in with Becca today, just to have you hear it from someone, hopefully like yourself, who wasn't necessarily sure that this was going to be the path that they wanted to take when they first got started. But now 2 years in, we can look back and reflect and say, okay, this is what we've learned during this experience. This is what opportunity exists for people who are really wanting to make it into the industry. So, Becca, to start off with, let's just give them a little background. Like, you're currently how old?
28.
28 years old. I know you're not supposed to ask ladies that, but like,
it's fine. You asked for permission. It's fine.
When you're under 35, like, does it really matter, right? And I know we were debating this before. What generation are you in technically?
I'm a millennial, technically.
Technically a millennial.
Right on the cusp.
As someone who's an older millennial, like, okay, so we're in the same generation. But millennial, maybe like, but you're on the cusp with Gen Z, right? Like, do you have a Gen Z husband?
I have a Gen Z husband.
Okay, all right.
Yes, I'm older.
Just throwing that out there. Not trying to throw him under the bus or anything.
Right, he's not going to like it.
But, so for someone who, 28 years old, you started this industry 2 years ago, so you were 26.
Yeah.
Started out. Like, what does that look like? What were you doing before you got started in the insurance industry? And what made you even take that step? Like, why did you move from what you were doing previous to insurance and stepping into because you didn't go to school for insurance actuary
not
or
at all
like that. So walk us through that. What was that like?
Yeah, so I went to school for cross-cultural ministry. I lived in the mission field in Honduras for a while, teaching English as a second language. And then I worked at a ministry, a nonprofit called Rahab, where we worked with women that had been through sex trafficking or any form of human trafficking. And I was there for a while, and I absolutely loved it. A lot of the skills I learned there have really helped me, I think, a lot in our field. Okay. And to answer your question, what had me switch? My Gen Z husband was looking for, or got a job as a travel nurse. And so I needed a job with flexibility that I could work all over the country, which this has provided.
All right, so flexibility was the kind of the impetus.
Yes,
like
definitely.
You couldn't continue to work with Rahab because you weren't going to be there and you had to physically
be present there.
And your husband was doing travel nursing, so you guys were potentially going to be bouncing around every 3 to 4 months? 3 to 4 months. And it's kind of hard to have a career
Absolutely.
in one place when you're only going to be there for 3 to 4 months.
You need flexibility.
So the so what does the flexibility, when you say flexibility of the insurance industry, what does that look like? Because originally when you started in the industry, you guys were living in Idaho?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you're not in Idaho anymore.
No, we're back in Ohio.
Did you bounce around to a couple of other places between Idaho and Ohio?
From when I got started, no.
Okay.
It was Idaho back to here since I've been in the industry. We're back to Ohio.
Okay. So that flexibility has been something that has kept you there, or kept you like looking for what the insurance. How does the insurance industry allow you to have geographic flexibility, time flexibility?
Yeah.
What does that look like today?
Well, I mean, I treat this as my full-time position. So I do work, 40 plus hours. It's not necessarily, oh, you can just come and work when you want, whenever. But at the same time, if I have a doctor's appointment or when people have to take their kids to school, this job gives you the flexibility to be able to do that, to be able to make it work around your lifestyle. And I can work from wherever. I sold a policy 2 weeks ago at the beach in North Carolina on vacation.
All right.
So you can work from wherever.
So that's the flexibility piece is a big part. What about this move from you were in nonprofit work,
Yeah.
and you moved to the insurance industry? You said there were some things that you picked up, or you skills that you learned in the nonprofit world that you've applied here. What would be some examples of that?
The biggest thing that has felt transferable is learning how to listen really intentionally. The women that I had worked with were not listened to. They had been through so much and felt, a lot of times like they lacked a lot of dignity because of what had been done to them. And so I wasn't listening to respond. I wasn't listening to speak. I was just listening to be there for them. And that's the same thing with our clients. They don't need someone to just come and talk to them. They want to be heard. I want to understand, why are you looking for coverage? Who are you trying to protect in your family? So if you can listen well and empathize, that was a very transferable skill.
And it's a skill not only that's transferable, but like being able to listen and hear, like there's so much value in that.
Yeah.
Right? Like people want to be heard because they have issues, they have a situation that they're in. They're usually looking for a solution, and that's one of the things that we provide in our industry. And we see this return to us, and like the value that we add to our clients is what comes back to us income wise. So let's talk about money for just a second, because obviously if you're considering this as a income producing activity, a job, a business that you're wanting to build, you want to know, like, well, am I going to make any money with this? So let's talk about maybe just one policy. All right. What's the most value in commission received by you that you've received from writing one policy? And what did that look like? How long did that take to do that?
My biggest commission on just one policy was about $4,300.
Okay.
And
$4,300.
$4,300. No, $4,300, which was over, and this is true, over a month of what I made, over what I would have made in a month in the nonprofit world. Okay. I was making $1,100 every 2 weeks. So, yeah.
And what did it look like? So you helped that one client. How much time did you spend with that client?
Yeah.
What were you listening for to be able to add value to that client in order to receive that kind of a commission?
Absolutely. The client was a new dad and was looking to cover his wife and his son if something were to happen to him, if he were to get sick, if he were to lose his income. So I just listened. He wanted to make sure that he would get his money back. So not to bore you guys with the details, but looked at a policy where if he outlived it, he would get all of that money back. Okay. So I just listened to what he needed and helped him, solve his own problem.
There you go. And I love that that's what this industry is predicated on, is that by adding value to someone, by helping them solve problems that they can't solve on their own,
absolutely,
we get to see that in return. Let's shift and talk a little bit about like how do you get those clients? How do you find people to talk to? One thing that I feel like you've done a really good job on is starting to crack that social media code. Like everybody uses social media now these days, whether you're, a boomer or Gen Z, like everybody.
They might not all use it well, but everyone's using it.
Everybody's using it. What does it look like to be able to integrate social media into what you're doing to not only attract clients, because I know you get a lot of clients that reach out to you directly, like you're not out chasing people, like they're coming to you saying, hey, I hear what you're talking about. I want to be educated. I need some help.
Absolutely.
So there's that aspect, but then you're also, and maybe we can pivot to this later, but you're also building an agency
Right.
using social media as well. So let's talk about clients first. Like, how are you using social media to attract people to you to make sure that they're taken care of?
Honestly, at first, I was struggling to figure out how to make insurance feel aesthetic and feel cool and feel, I didn't know how to do that. And then I just realized I really love what I'm doing. So I'm just going to share about it authentically. I'm not bored with my job. I'm excited to work. So why not just tell people what I'm doing? And, for the client side, because you're right, a lot of my clientele has been warm market. I just share about maybe a product for a couple weeks in a row, maybe just 1 or 2 posts a week about it, but just share about the benefits, and it's impactful. People want it.
Over the last few months, how many people have reached out to you asking, hey, Becca, can you help me with my questions about insurance, or can you help me get a policy?
I would probably say in the last 2 months, like 10 to 15 people have been warm market.
Okay. And I mean, given the fact that our typical, like when we sell a policy, our typical policies are anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 in premium, right? I mean, that comes out to $15,000 to $20,000 of premium over the past couple of months.
Just from sharing.
Just from sharing on social media.
Absolutely.
In addition to what we're able to do with, leads and clients actually reaching out to us saying, hey, like I want to get some coverage.
Yeah.
What's your favorite platform for sharing about your business and what you're doing?
Instagram. I'm not cool enough to have a TikTok, though. I know I need to get on it. But Instagram is the platform I already liked to use, so it just felt organic to share about what I'm doing now.
Okay. And on Instagram, what's something that, because I know you work with a couple systems, right? Like you didn't just figure this out on your own.
No.
You subscribe to a system to kind of show you a process for how to do social media.
Yeah.
What's something that when you first heard about it, you're like, I don't know if that's really going to work to really help grow my business. But
Absolutely.
now you're like, yeah.
That's the money right there.
That's it.
Yeah. We enrolled with a program called Jumpstart Go that has been really impactful.
Links below if you want to.
Absolutely. Shout out David and Elle.
Yeah.
And they broke it down for someone that is a boomer that's never even had a Facebook, to someone that's a Gen Z or whatever's even younger than that, that might feel super tech savvy. They have made this course applicable to all. And the thing that grabbed my attention was the 80-20 rule.
Okay.
So they said it's really important to share all the time, be very consistent in your posting, which felt hard for me at first. I was like, I don't want to annoy people, I don't want to bug people. But then I was like, who cares? They're not paying my bills, but doing this is. They have really recommended posting 80% about your everyday life, your normal life. I share a lot about how I'm running, and I'm not a good runner, but I'm learning. And, I just share organically. And then 20% about your business. So you're building trust, you're building a community online. And then when you're sharing about what it is that you're doing, people are more likely to engage because they feel a connection to you.
Gotcha. And would you say like that has helped, like just having that 80-20 rule has helped with, because we hear this word authenticity on social media a lot, because like there's a lot of stuff that you look at like, that's not real. Like, that's nice. That was very well produced. But how do you balance being authentic on social media? Would you credit that 80-20 rule to help you with that? But being authentic on social media while still being professional enough to earn the trust of someone who's saying, hey, because it's like if you're posting authentically, like, we were out this weekend and whoa, it was crazy, like that. Then when someone wants to like buy life insurance from you, they're like, oh, I don't know if I want that person to be my agent.
Absolutely.
So how do you balance being authentically you on social media to have people want to pay attention, but then be able to receive that professional advice from you, and maybe even as a younger person, right? Like, I mean, some of your clients maybe we're talking about the gentleman who was in his 40s, I believe. Who was looking for coverage. How do you balance being authentic on social media but still being professional enough to gain the trust of any client that you might work with?
I think I've talked to you about this in the past, where at first I felt imposter syndrome. I was like, everyone that follows me just knows me as Becca that worked in nonprofit, and they're not going to see me as this insurance agent. And so I think I was really intentional in sharing as I've been learning, sharing the new things that I'm learning at the same time as some of my clients, sharing in the areas that I've failed and messed up, quite frankly. But how that's helped me get to where I am now and where I want to grow my agency to be. So sharing myself working in my pajamas in a messy bun is authentic, right? I'm not trying to look so put together that it's not realistic.
Yeah.
But then also, I am a licensed professional. I know what I'm doing. I know how to help my clients. And, time has helped probably more and more people know that and believe that.
Well, let's switch from talking about clients and social media to you have a role within the Pritchett Agency. You're Baseshop Director, which you earned after a year of working with us and working
Yeah.
under I was going to say tutelage, but I don't know if tutelage is the right word, under the mentorship of our previous Baseshop Director.
Yeah.
Now that you're responsible for agent success, how do you transfer knowledge to a incoming or a new agent? So let's say someone is wanting to get into this industry and wants to work with someone like yourself.
Yeah.
How do you help them get started? Whether it's, the social media aspect, the learning the products aspect, the learning how to sell.
Yeah.
What does that process look like? How do you relay that to a new agent? What should they be looking for when they step into the industry?
I think that's something that is so important for a new agent is to know that it's okay to not know everything right from the get-go. I wrote my first piece of business 6 days after I got my license. I didn't even have my writing numbers yet. And it wasn't because I knew all about the first product that I wrote was with American Amicable. I didn't know all about that product yet, but I leaned into my mentor. I met with him. I said, here's my client's needs. Here's everything they told me. I listened really diligently to my client. And then I trusted my mentorship to help me know what to write. Gotcha. And through that repetition, I was able now to do that by myself and help other agents. So I would say trust your mentors. And don't spend so much time trying to learn and study absolutely everything that you fail to do income producing activity, that you fail to reach out to the clients.
Yeah, I tell people the best way to learn something is to actually do it.
100%.
Like it's great to get that license in the beginning.
Yeah.
But no offense if the Department of Insurance is watching this or anything. Like most of the stuff that you have to learn to get your license, you don't really use on a day-to-day
No.
basis. It's important.
My client doesn't need to know who invented life insurance. They don't.
But like you learn the rules and regulations so that you can get your license, and then
Yeah.
to actually learn the actions and the activity of
100%.
doing the business.
How to help.
You have to do it.
Yeah, a million percent.
What's the biggest mindset shift that you have overcome yourself as an agent, and something that you see you help new agents to really overcome, or at least point out to them, because you can't help them overcome. They have to overcome it. But what's one of those mindset shifts that you've overcome and that you have to point out on a regular basis in incoming agents? So like, hey, you got to shift your thinking here, or this isn't going to work for you.
I think that having short-term memory has been helpful, or trying to have short-term memory for me.
Okay.
I am very critical on myself. I'm very much my own worst enemy. And so if I didn't handle an objection right, or felt like, oh, I blew that sale, or didn't help that client get what they needed coverage in, that would affect my dials at the start for like the next 3 days. I would be in such a negative mentality. I can't do this, X, Y, and Z. Learning that that's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Not every single call is going to go perfectly. But how can I reset in that moment? So I live in a cute little cul-de-sac, and every time I have a bad call or a call where I'm just feeling stressed in and of myself, I take one lap of the cul-de-sac. I leave my phone in my house so I can truly unplug for 6-7 minutes, and I come back and I feel so refreshed.
And do you feel like over time, like has that gotten, the frequency of that happening gets less and less?
Way less. Yeah, absolutely. But at first, no, I had no experience in this field. So I was tanking it more often than I am now, of course. So just helping agents see like, that's okay, but here's how we can overcome that quickly.
And what's the thing, like, yes, you can say to do that, but like there also has to be that mentality that I'm going to stick this out and see it through.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, you won't
Absolutely.
do that. So, what has helped you to make that commitment that, hey, I'm going to put in, like, did you, when you first get started or when you first got started, did you think, okay, I'm going to do this for 6 months, I'm going to do this for a year? Like, what was it that made you
Have to do it.
have to say, okay, I got to take this break, take this walk, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be
Yeah.
refreshed and get back at it?
So, sad story, kind of. When I first got started, my husband is a pediatric ICU nurse, and he tore his ACL, meniscus, and MCL. And you can't work as a nurse if you can't walk. So he was fully out of a job. And as a travel nurse, he wasn't getting, disability or anything like that. So we lost my husband's income literally in a day. So I had to make this work. I was the only one bringing in any sort of income for our family for 5 to 6 months. So I didn't really feel like I had an option, and I'm really thankful for that. I think I would have stuck with it anyway.
Yeah.
I am competitive enough with myself that I was like, I want this to work. But that was my story of why it had to work.
So having that, like, it has to be,
It has to work.
it has to work.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Like, anybody who started a business, I think people who are successful in business, they have to get to that
Yes.
point for it to actually work. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, we've talked a little bit about the flexibility and the time freedom.
Yeah.
But from a financial aspect, and speaking to the story that you just shared, how has your life changed as you found success in the insurance industry from a financial standpoint?
Yeah.
We've already compared it a little bit to your nonprofit days, but like, what do you see now, and what do you see kind of for your future
100%.
as you kind of move things forward?
My passion has always and will always be the human trafficking field, right? But it wasn't something I could stay in permanently just with the lack of income that I was bringing in for my family. Now that I'm making a lot more than I was there, I have the freedom to go back and volunteer, to go back and serve. I'm still serving on that team every month. So now I have the ability to not be burned out professionally. This job does not burn me out. And when I've had a stressful day in this field, it is nothing compared to a stressful day at my old field. Nothing similar. So the financial freedom that this is bringing me, the flexibility this is bringing me, it's allowed me to stay giving back to the community that's really important to me.
So not being as stressful as like the most stressful days then,
Yeah.
what does a typical week look like for you now? How much of time are you mentioned earlier 40 hours a week that you're diligently make sure at least I'm putting my
At
40
least.
hours in. So what does a typical week look like for you as an agent?
I would say my typical work week in this season of life, I'm working about 50 hours a week.
Okay.
And I know that to a lot of people, that probably sounds like, why are you working extra? I'm not at the point yet in a business, right, where I can just go take 3 weeks off here and there. Like, I'm growing a business. So right now that does look like a lot of time behind my computer. And I'm also mentoring agents. So that's not just working with clients. So then I want to put in those extra hours to work. But what that looks like is, I can stop for an hour whenever I want and go take my dogs on a walk or go have a coffee date with my husband or take those breaks because I'm running my own business. I can choose when and when not to show up.
What would somebody from your previous work environment in the nonprofit world, if they, and maybe they do see, because you use social media on a very regular basis to kind of share what you're doing, but like, what would they be most surprised about your current lifestyle now versus lifestyle before?
Probably the structure of my lifestyle now. I had never had a Google Calendar a day in my life prior to this job. I had a paper calendar. So I think they would be surprised to see that I'm now like, I thrive in structure. And I think that I know that Justin has said over and over, he feels like he has me again. I lost a lot of myself doing full-time outreach, being in the areas that I was, and I wouldn't trade that season of life for the world, but it was not sustainable for me. So my friends, my family have said, you're back, which has been huge.
That's cool.
I have life again, which I didn't expect from this, honestly.
That's
It's
really
been
cool.
a really big blessing.
Life insurance gave you your life back.
Gave me my life back. Who knew?
Not to be corny or anything.
Right. That's the title.
Well, okay. So speaking to that, for agents, maybe they've just gotten started and they're struggling to get traction, or for that person who's looking to get into this industry and get started right.
Yeah.
What's something that you would say? And I think it may relate to what you just mentioned about the Google Calendar, but what's something that they should start doing tomorrow
Yeah.
to start getting traction?
If I am meeting with an agent for the first time, or they're like, I'm ready, let's go. That's one of the first things we're doing is time blocking. We're pulling up their Google Calendar together, and we're setting structure of here, because it's easy to think you're working when you're working from home, but you're not. It's easy to go do the laundry really fast and then do this and think you don't have enough time, but no, you just weren't using your time well. Yeah. So I would absolutely help them make that schedule that has worked for me, help tailor it to their life. And then I would help them get in contact with people, whether that's reaching out to their warm market, whether that's getting leads, start that income producing activity right away.
Okay. All right, as we wrap this up, and I appreciate what you're sharing, and I hope those who are watching are really taking note
Yeah.
of what you're sharing, because what I certainly have seen is that what you're describing and what has happened over the last, it's not even 2 years yet, like
Yeah.
it'll be 2 years in October, is something that could happen to a lot more people
I want it to.
if they
Yeah.
entered this industry with the kind of clarity that I think you brought to it.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself and your team in the next, like, let's just double it up, in the next
Yeah.
2 years? What's the vision for the team and yourself that gets you excited to keep pushing forward in this industry?
Absolutely. I see a team of like-minded people, not all from the same background, anything like that, but a team of young, ambitious individuals that want to kind of break that status quo of what we were all taught work had to look like. I want to see a group of at least 30 of us on my team charging forward, helping families. I probably will be a mom by then. This is not a pregnancy announcement, but I probably will be a mom by then. So I want to be able to show my kids you can be a really good mom and still work hard. So that's something that is really important to me in this upcoming season of life for my family. And yeah, I just see helping a lot of families and a lot of other agents along the way.
Well, I love that. I mean, if you put some numbers to that, 30 like-minded individuals that are going out doing what
Yeah.
you're doing, let's put it at an average of $20,000 a month. That's a $600,000 a month organization. That's $7.2 million a year. I mean,
Let's go.
you're saying, like, the vision is within the next 2 years you're gonna have one of the highest performing agencies in the country. Like, there's not a lot of agencies that are doing $7.2 million a year in
Yeah.
production. And the fact that we can sit here and talk about that today, and you see that as a possibility,
I really
you see
do.
that as a reality for yourself. That's what I think is so amazing about this industry. It doesn't take 10 years
No.
to build a
seen it
multi-million-dollar
firsthand.
organization. You're in the process of doing that right now after
Absolutely.
less than 2 years in the industry. So what would be one last thing that you'd want to share with that person who's watching, who they're just like, I think this is,
Yeah.
but there's still that trepidation, there's still that little bit of fear, because I'm sure that happened for you before you really got
Absolutely.
started. What advice would you give them that might help them make a decision that could change the course of their life moving forward?
I would just say simply get out of your own way. I don't know if that sounds harsh, but the fear that is holding that person back, that was holding me back, I would still be making $1,100 every 2 weeks. And there's so much that is on the other side of jumping into something. There's so much that I'm experiencing, that I'm growing in myself, even outside of, like, professionally. This company has helped me just become a better version of myself in all aspects of my life. And I want to help other people, specifically other young females. That's truly who I'm excited to work with. I want to help other women and other men find that freedom for themselves, for their family. So just get out of your own way, jump in. It is definitely worth it.
All right. Well, if you're ready to jump in, we have Becca's links in the comments below. Click on those. I'm sure if you shot her a DM and said, hey, I'm interested in learning more, she's gonna get back with you and let you know.
Absolutely.
Follow the Pritchett Agency. We're here to support you in your journey, whether that's with us or what I'm always looking for people in this industry, find the place, find the organization, find the mentors that are going to help you be successful.
100%.
Continue to tune in to Life Insurance Today. We're going to keep bringing you as much information as we can to help you grow your business. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll talk to you soon.